We are finally doing it. We are revisiting our Fortnite seasons tier list after over a year.
Oh, wait, we are?
Yeah. We're gonna look back at Chapter 1 Season 1 to Chapter 3 Season 3 really briefly, reorganize some things, and then we're gonna start with Chapter 3 Season 4 because that's where we left off last time. And we're gonna go through in detail from there all the way to the current season here, Chapter 5 Season 1.
What?
Yeah, let's do it. Before we talk about Chapter 3 Season 4, real quick, do some reorganizing of Chapter 1 Season 1 to Chapter 3 Season 3. I believe you said that you don't really want to change anything.
No, my selections are good. Whoever made my list did a good job.
I kind of want to do some reorganizing for A tier, but I think I'm just going to do that in post, except for saying that I'm thinking I'm going to bring Chapter 1 Season 3 down from S to A tier, and I might move some from A to B tier, like Chapter 1 Season 7, but that I'll figure out later. So now, let's go into detail here with Chapter 3 Season 4, the Chrome Season.
Let's figure this out. So, starting with Chapter 3, Season 4.
Yes.
Chapter 3, Season 4 was a very fun season. I know that many people didn't like it because when you turn into a chrome blob, it was absolutely annoying. However, I thought it was really fun and very different for the whole Fortnite game. I also really enjoyed the chrome weapons, like the shotgun and the burst, even though at first the burst really didn't make too much sense. I thought the boss was pretty cool, although a tad bit annoying because she would spawn wildlife and put herself in a damn bubble to turn invincible. I thought that was really annoying sometimes.
Yeah.
But something else that was also really cool was that you didn't need, for the chrome weapons at least, you didn't need to kill the boss to actually get a mythic chrome weapon. You could just upgrade it, although it would take forever. So I remember Epic, don't ban me, but farming the wildlife that she would spawn when she was invincible, because she would just keep spawning them over and over again. So unless I'd get a mythic weapon or mythic weapons right off the bat. I thought the chrome tornado was cool too. I thought turning everything on the chrome on the other side of the map was also really cool. The event though, the event was kind of garbage, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, for sure.
That really wasn't the greatest of all time. It was long as hell and for nothing. I think that was the worst event that Epic Games has held. I honestly think that the New Year event, where it like counts down 10 seconds on the hour every hour on New Year's, was a lot more entertaining than the Fracture event as a whole. So I basically took a day off for kind of like, nothing. But that's fine, I guess. So at the end of the day, with all things considered, that's gonna have to be an A tier season, only because of the fact that the event was garbage and it gave a horrible ending to the season as a whole.
And the chapter as a whole.
I thought that, and the chapter too, you're right, that was the chapter ender as well. You can't really end a chapter on a bad season and B, a bad event either. So for me, that's going to be A tier, but at the very, very end of A tier.
That's pretty fair, to be honest. This season was a lot of fun. Like, they had a lot of weird things, but they were cool. Like you said, with the chrome blobs, the chrome splashes to create the level 4 car. That was
yeah, that was cool too.
Goated. But yeah, Chapter 3 Season 4, like, it had a really cool shotgun meta, like the Prime shotgun, Ranger shotgun, both amazing shotguns I absolutely love, that I hope they bring back eventually. The Everchrome shotgun was also good, the Lever Shotty was good. The Goo Gun was an interesting addition, it was funny, although it was kind of OP. They had the Rapid Fire SMG in this season as well, which I love. The Halloween event during Chapter 3 Season 4 was not great, but with the wolf mythic, but it was kind of cool because you could like do the howling and be able to see players around you. I like what they did with the map and the POIs, turning places into chrome and like having some buildings float. The Rocket League cars being added in Chapter 3 Season 4 to BR was super fun as well. I loved that. It was a great time messing around with that. And I think that's really about it. I would definitely put it in A tier as well, but to be honest, I don't know how my A tier is structured because I'm doing that in post, so I'm just gonna say it's somewhere in A tier. So next season, Chapter 4, Season 1.
Yeah, so Chapter 4 Season 1, right after the Fracture event, brought together, or supposedly what it was supposed to be, was a bunch of different islands brought together into one big mess to make a map. Indicated by the fact that if you were to walk around the map, you'd be able to see ledges from the different islands mushed into each other. That's why there were some weird mountains. And if you go to places like Faulty Splits, there would be like these weird shapes around the Earth. Also, it was like a big island in space. It was just a bunch of, I don't want to say realities, but a bunch of different points throughout space brought together into one area. Now, for the season as a whole, the map was pretty okay. I thought the weapons were also pretty okay as well. However, the one issue that I did have a problem with, it wasn't the drone or the shield or not even the new SMGs or shotguns or whatever else.
I know what
The issue I had that is really affecting the decision is the shockwave hammer. Oh my god, everyone and their mother had the shockwave hammer. It was so annoying. You couldn't do anything. If you were all the way up at the top of the map over at Breakwater Bay and you accidentally shot your gun, you're going to get 50,000 slams from the shockwave hammer, and about 5 million people are going to show up with that thing just chasing you from all the way from the bottom of the map all the way up to Breakwater Bay. Like, it was horrendous.
Yeah.
There was like no stopping it either. Like, sure, Epic tried to nerf it by increasing the time to reach and gain a shock in the hammer. But still, it was really overpowered. I did not enjoy that aspect, and it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth for Chapter 4 Season 1. So at the end of the day, I'm going to have to put it at B tier, but right in the center of B tier.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, the shockwave hammer was pretty whack, and I feel like one of the reasons was because, well, you could just spam it. Using it for mobility and spamming someone in a corner with it, like you did that one time in the vault. Also, when you were in mid-air, you would do like a spinning animation, which made it harder to hit people while they were in the air, which I feel like was one of the main issues with the shockwave hammer, was that kind of gave it quote-unquote no counterplay. Even though you could still shoot them, it was just made harder by the animation. So yeah, that brings it down a little bit. Another thing that personally brings it down to for me a little bit was the fact that RPGs were in Chapter 4 Season 1, which for zero build is a pain in the butt to deal with, because it's really hard to not just die from an RPG, even if you have mobility like shockwaves, shockwave hammer and all that. But I loved the additions like the Guardian Shield. I loved that item. It was so freaking cool. I remember we used it to make like a rip-off level 4 car. Augments were introduced in this season. Augments were really cool.
Oh, I didn't
really
even bring
fun.
that up.
Yeah. And I think they should bring augments back. And I also loved doing my combo that I did all the time in Chapter 4 Season 1, was the shockwave bow with, I forgot what the augment was called, but it would give you, whenever you did a sprinting jump, it gave you low grav, and then also bow specialist. So I could just fly around the map with the shockwave bow all the time. It was great. But yeah, the shockwave hammer brings it down a bit. So I would say Chapter 4 Season 1 would probably be a high B area, maybe low A. I don't know, the season was really good, but there was a couple things that brought it down tremendously. So it'll be around there somewhere. Yeah, I think that's really about it for Chapter 4 Season 1. Good season, but it had a couple drawbacks. They're shooting at me!
Oh shit. Yup, he's coming. Where's he at? 26, 90, 116, knock, nice.
19, 42, 21.
6, crack.
There we go.
Ah, you guys are garbage.
They had all 5 medallions. Now that we cleared the area, time to talk about Chapter 4, Season 2.
Yeah, so Chapter 4 Season 2, the extent and the season after Chapter 4 Season 1. Thankfully, because the map did really need some more POIs for improving, but unfortunately with the new POIs that came in, such as Mega City and the other 2 ones that were so unimportant, I don't remember their name.
It was actually 3 other ones.
They removed 3 other ones. That's how unimportant the 3rd one was. They removed Faulty Splits, unfortunately. It only lasted for a season, and the only remains of it was a bowling sign, and that's it.
Yeah.
But I thought having a completely new environment was extremely cool. I liked all the colors. It really sent some cool signals to my brain that was like, oh wow, this is a cool season. And then you leave the new environment and it's like, damn, it's just chapter 4 again. But Mega City was really cool. I'm assuming the entire point of it was supposed to be like Tilted Towers, and it was better than Tilted Towers, but no one really, landed there for some reason.
It was,
I mean,
I guess, too
they
big.
landed when it came out,
So, yeah.
but
Yeah.
during like the middle of the season, and then even past season
the
2,
rest of the chapter.
not really a lot of people landed there. There were a lot more chests, and they were more condensed too. I thought it was easy to navigate as well. The addition of the new cars too, removing
And the motorcycle.
or adding new motorcycles and new sedans were really cool because of how fast they were.
The most overpowered shotgun to ever exist in Fortnite history. The Havoc Pump.
Oh, yeah, the Havoc Pump shotgun. That was a really cool pump. That's like the only pump I actually enjoy. That for some reason I'm good at, and I don't understand why. And then something unexpected, I think, came by. The Star Wars event. The Star Wars event was really cool because it had a bunch of rifts everywhere that would make your character or give your character a lightsaber with a cool animation. Although it did get me killed a few times because you'd be invincible when going through that teleporter. But what was really cool was around the area there were a bunch of checkpoints managed by clone troopers. Those clone troopers were friendly at the beginning until Order 66. They'd all turn hostile and you can kill them and get their blasters. In conclusion, with everything I just said wrapped up, at the end of the day, Mega City, or Mega, my bad, is going to have to be an A tier season, the top of A tier.
That's interesting. I did not expect you to put it that high. But yeah, Chapter 4 Season 2, Mega, was really good. Mega City, amazing PY. I believe there was over 100 chest spawns at that place, which is pretty insane. I did like 2 of the other POIs that were introduced. Simi Springs, I like the environment with the pink trees and all that. And then Kenjutsu Crossing, I like because it reminds me of Hanamura from Overwatch. But there were some other additions like the lock-on pistol, which was cool concept, but a little weird. The Havoc Suppressed AR was also an interesting rifle. Not really that good until they buffed it a little bit later, but still cool addition. Oh, you got sniped. No!
Oh, I thought those were yours.
No, I didn't even get to finish talking. Chapter 4 Season 2 was also the addition of the island for the first time spawning in, and you can go up there, grab a whole bunch of loot. As well as the mythic overclocked pulse rifle. That thing was freaking insanely overpowered even after they nerfed it. It was so cool. And then the legendary slurp juice for the first time, which is also overpowered, but really cool. Chapter 4 Season 2, I would say, is also an A tier. Okay, now let's actually talk about Chapter 4 Season 3 though.
Okay, Chapter 4 Season 3 Wilds. This is obviously, without a doubt, no questions asked, the best season we are going to be talking about, the only S+ season. And let me tell you why. Epic Games decided to remove the almost entire center of the map with a huge depression leading into a giant jungle, which was a really cool biome. However, I did not appreciate being all the way down at basically 10,000 feet below sea level just to be in that biome. I thought the mud was cool. It was a good way to speed your character up, and additionally, it hid your signature from the thermal weapons like the DMR, so that was really cool. The battle pass was obviously one of the best with Optimus Prime at tier 100. The rifle was also really cool, the flapjack rifle. I really enjoyed that as well. What else was there? There
was some other really good weapons. The MK Alpha, that was a really good one.
Yeah, the MK Alpha was cool too. I really enjoy the best part of the season, that being the Futurama collab. That was the best thing to come out of it. It added Bender, and he sold you the plasma rifle. I mean, that was really cool. I mean, honestly, there really isn't a whole lot of good things to say about the season. And so at the end of the day, I'm gonna have to put it at a garbage tier, but right at the beginning of garbage tier.
That's interesting.
This was without a doubt the second to worst season.
That's actually pretty funny. But it was cool in concept this season. It was just the fact that the new biome was like in the middle of like the map where you were just like right like at freaking sea level. Yeah, that was painful, and it made driving across the map a huge pain. But like I said earlier, there was a lot of cool weapons that were introduced. Like I said, the mammoth pistol and all that. The explosive repeater was also a really cool weapon. I liked the plants that they introduced, like the slurp plant and the bouncing plants. Those were really cool. But it's just the fact that it made the center of the map like really whack to play on that made the season worse. So I would say Chapter 4 Season 3 is probably like top of C or bottom of B, personally. For the quote-unquote last season of Chapter 4, because there are some places that says Fortnite OG is still Chapter 4, but we're gonna ignore that. Fortnite Chapter 4 Season 4, Last Resort.
Alright, Chapter 4 Season 4, Last Resort. This was the best callback to Chapter 2 Season 2 that we've gotten forever. It introduced some really cool... I accidentally jumped in the... It introduced some really cool POIs around the map. However, really unfortunately, you removed the best one, that being, of course, Lonely Lab. All the spots were really interesting in the fact that they all had vaults that you would have to sneak into, quote unquote. Not really, but something that was really cool about them was once you got into said vaults, you would be able to go ahead and select which reward you would want, that being a randomized mythic
from past seasons.
However, once you got that said mythic, the other mythic was unavailable. So if there were, for example, the mythic Mark 7 Alpha, or no, it was, what was it, the Mark?
Yeah, the Mark 7.
Yeah, the Mark 7 and the mythic drum gun, if you went ahead and picked up that drum gun, then you or your teammate or any other rando would not be able to get the Mark 7 mythic, and it was therefore locked underground forever until the end of the round. I thought the randomization was really cool, which is something that's being lacked in this season, if we're being honest. But that was cool. So here's what I enjoyed. I enjoyed the loot pool. However, in order for you to, I guess, be considered good or not a bot, you would have to essentially utilize the twin mag AR, with only because of the dot, with the other rifle being the Havoc suppressed assault rifle, which had bloom, because you bloom. So everyone was running around beating each other with the twin mag assault rifle
or the MK.
But yeah, additionally, you didn't have the you didn't really have a choice with the shotguns either when the sharp tooth came out. Essentially a different pump. I mean, it had the same model, but it would have a very extended range and one bullet less than the max of the pump shotgun. So everyone was running around with that too as well. So really, you had to have a twin mag assault rifle with the sharp tooth shotgun and shockwaves as well to get around the map.
Yeah, kind of.
And then the greatest update of all time came out, Fort Nightmares. Now, what was really cool about Fort Nightmares, they had a cool collab with Michael Myers, they had a cool Jack Skellington skin, and then the event itself, they added a pirate that pointed at a chest. I mean that was cool, I guess, not really. So at the end of the day, wrapped up Chapter 4 Season 4. What really ruined it for me was Fort Nightmares. However, at the end of the day, Chapter 4 Season 4 is going to be, from me, a B tier season.
The loot pool was really good. It was just like, yeah, like the twin mag AR was like overpowered. It just did so much damage and shot fast enough. The sharp tooth was, yes, really good, but personally I'd say the Maven Auto was still viable. And then of course you could have the mythic charge shotgun. You could use that instead if you got it from the vault. All the POIs from Chapter 4 Season 4 were really good. Bringing back the mythics was amazing, like with like we said, Kit's Charge, Foundation's MK7. The only issue with that was that they freaking made the fake Midas drum gun. It wasn't even Midas's drum gun, it was Jules' drum gun just reskinned. So it wasn't the OP freaking Midas drum gun that we all know and not necessarily love. Some people do, yeah. The Fortnite Mares event was not the greatest, but it brought in the Kinetic Blade back for as a mythic, as well as the I forgot what it was called, but the Vampire Shoddy.
Wood stake shotgun.
Yeah, the Wood Stake Shotgun, and which was pretty dang bad. And then also during Fortnite Mares, they opened the back of the vault at Eclipse Estate with the time machine, so we could see it, and then we got the teasers of 7/12/2018. Chapter 1 Season 5, which was really cool speculation towards Fortnite OG potentially happening, which in the end of the day it did. Added some new items like the EMP, the business turret that really fit with the season. And overall, Chapter 4 Season 4, it was really cool, a really good season. In my opinion, I would say bottom of S tier, just because I didn't feel like personally the weapons, like you were forced to use specific weapons, except for the Twin Mag AR. Now we're gonna move on to everyone's favorite season, Fortnite OG. Chapter 1 came back. It was only for 30 days, and they actually changed some stuff a little bit, like the weapons, the map, and all that. So let's get started with this.
Chapter Fortnite OG, Season Fortnite OG. Some people thought that this was never ever going to happen in 100 million, billion, zillion years, because people have been asking for forever as to why it took so long for Epic Games to actually go ahead and approve an OG season. Who knows? But finally, after a few years, they bring back the OG Chapter 1 map. They did remove some things that were implemented in Chapter 2, such as swimming and fishing. If you touch the water, you were dead, and then just fish just weren't even a thing, which makes sense because that wasn't introduced in Chapter 1. They brought back the old loot pool with the classic rifles and shotguns, so not everyone was as accurate, which did throw quite a bit of people off. Additionally, it was extremely hard to find things such as health and shield, which people complained about. I really liked how the loot pool was actually random, and what I mean by that is if you went ahead in the Chapter 4 maps, right, you go and claim a point of interest or raid a vault or something, then you would get a legendary item because you did that specific task. Back in Fortnite OG, it was you open a chest, whatever comes out the chest, you get. And
Or supply
that was
drop.
really cool.
Yeah.
However, there were still some people that complained about things like sprinting and mantling over items such as walls. However, that did show that the game overall did have to change. It wasn't able to, like, imagine playing Chapter 5 now with the basic walking and not being able to hurdle over items. Like, the game had to change. Additionally, that also applies to the map as well. The map had to change. I know it sucks to say, but we weren't able to stay on Chapter 1 forever. If from launch of Battle Royale to today, it was just one map, the game would be dead. Well, the reason why it brought it back was due to the fact that we've had map changes, and the only reason why people went back was for the nostalgia factor. If it was just the Chapter 1 map for the 5 years this game's been out, the game would be dead. So, at the end of the day, I'm going to have to rate this season at a B tier, because the game had to change. Yeah, it was cool to go back, but it got boring and stale after a week. Even with every season per week, it still didn't change much. The POIs were relatively the same, and there also weren't really, it wasn't everything per the season that it was. For example, Season 7, when the snow biome came by, sure, there was half a Polar Peak, but there was no Happy Hamlet, so Happy Hamlet wasn't the thing. When Season 8 came out, they removed some of the unnamed POIs just to put pirate camps down.
Yeah,
the
like
cannons
Grandma's
didn't even
house.
come back.
And freaking, they didn't even bring back the jungle. They just had Wailing Woods as well. No Lazy Lagoon.
Yeah, so not all of the POIs were brought back either. So I'm gonna have to rate it. Actually, I'm gonna have to change it from B tier already. I'm gonna have to put it at C tier now that I just went ahead and mentioned that. That's gonna be like top of C tier though.
Interesting. Yeah, Fortnite OG is a weird one because it brings us back, but at the same time, it's like there are changes that must have been made. But at the same time, it was cool to do some old memes, like hiding at the top of shifty shafts, doing the new and improved water strat with the hoverboards. That was so freaking funny and awesome to do. Stuff like that. And I was gonna agree with you with the B tier, but of course you changed it to C tier. But also I was gonna say, when we did video on this soon, pretty much in 24 hours, getting to Unreal and playing build mode specifically for that, that felt way better and more fun for Fortnite OG, in my opinion. So because of that, I'm gonna put Fortnite OG at the very bottom of A tier, but also because of the Big Bang event. Such a good event. With the beginning being like a callback to Season X, and then doing a whole new thing, showing off the Lego mode, showing off the music mode, all that, which was super cool. But Fortnite OG had its downsides, like we said, like it didn't include like everything. Like for example, I think Season X specifically was very underutilized. Like no moisty palms, no tilted town, stuff like that. And of course, like the map is just, it was old. It made zero build not as good to play on, which is why build mode felt a lot better when we were doing Unreal. But it was a good time. It was a lot of fun. but yeah, you cannot let freaking nostalgia override. He's putting it at the top of C tier, and I'm putting it at the bottom of A tier.
Oh my god. Everyone's shooting at me right now. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, they're just shooting at us.
Targeted.
They're just teaming up on us.
Oh, hello there.
The turret.
Hello there.
Oh god.
Nice.
I don't want to be here. Oh. Oh. Stop. 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 All right. It's time to talk about the current season, Chapter 5, Season 1.
So Chapter 5, Season 1, extremely cool. Okay, the new map is okay. It's definitely a starter map. What I mean by that is a map to go ahead and get everyone used to what the map or layout will look like, and then go ahead and add on to it.
Yeah, before it gets
So
crazy.
there's definitely not a whole lot to it. There are some pretty good spots, and there are some pretty horrendous spots. I wouldn't say any spot is an absolute S tier yet, but there are spots that are definitely way better than others.
We'll talk about that in our freaking upcoming tier list of ranking every single Fortnite POI. Coming soon.
However, some POIs do also look identical to other POIs, such as Pleasant Piazza and Ritzy Rivera, for example. So there's some variety, but at the same time, there's some places that do kind of look similar. For around the map, there are still POIs that do have bosses and their AI as well. And again, something that is lacking that we saw in Chapter 4, Season 4 is RNG variety. So, for example, if I wanted the mythic shotgun, then all I'd have to do is land here at Lavish Layer, versus I break into a vault in Chapter 4 Season 4. I don't know what I'm gonna get until I'm actually in the vault. Now, the medallions were pretty cool when they came out. Not so much anymore unless you have all 5 of them, so that does suck. But I get it. It's to keep them from being overpowered, which is really good. Good job, Epic. Winterfest was pretty cool. I liked the bring back of the snowball launcher. No reason at all. However, this season is still ongoing, so it could change. But as it stands right now, I'm going to have to put this season in A tier, right before S tier.
That is respectable. Yeah, Chapter 5, Season 1 here, really a solid start, really, like, good start of a chapter. Yes, like, people complained about movement and all that at the beginning, but the weapons, for the most part, are really good, but they just take some time to getting used to, especially the projectile weapons, because pretty much all the weapons nowadays are projectile. The addition of the 3 game modes, Lego Fortnite, Rocket Racing, Fortnite Festival, those game modes they're fun and cool, but they're just getting started. They will eventually, like, start to evolve, but they are really cool. We've had some good updates already with, like, bringing back old weapons. The new modding is really cool. Being able to add attachments to your weapons, that's been leaked, like, literally since, like, Chapter 2, pretty much, I believe. They brought back hurdling this season as well, which was in Chapter 4, Season 1, and then gone. Because of how broken it was really funny. But yeah, this season is still ongoing, so of course this will likely change our positioning of this season. But I agree, and I'd say Chapter 5 Season 1 is somewhere in the A tier area for now. And that's all the seasons that we were here to talk about. So let's finish the rest of this game.
24 blue.
116 cracked?
Nice.
We did it! If you guys enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Subscribe to Mr. Gabo, link's always in the description. Tell us if our freaking list is right or wrong. We'll see y'all guys next time.